Why did you wait now to do that? Well, Mark, I know you want to have 100 officers, and that'd be a great dream. But you know as well as I do, you don't put 100 officers on the street in 1 year. You said if you had $11 million, Mark, if I had $11 million, I could probably put 200 officers on the street. But you know, we looked at a realistic design that says that we can put at least 10 officers, new officers in place every year with another 4 administrative officers. In 7 years, we're looking at 56 officers and 14 new administrators.
It's not enough.
We understand, Mr. Carter, it's not enough.
I
it's
didn't
not
say
here.
that.
Why don't you hush?
I said it, John.
So anyway, we're going to fight hard, and we're going to do what we have to. And we're going to, if we can get 20 officers a year, we're going to hire 20 officers. We're going to do whatever we can to get more in place. We also have 50 officers coming in every weekend starting in April through Labor Day. When we put those officers in place in July, you saw crime drop. We made more arrests and took more illegal guns and drugs off the street than it's been done in the last 5 or 6 years. We're headed in the right direction. And we're going to do it under this leadership of Ms. Prock and with the leadership of our city council. Our city council works together as a we. There is no I, Mr. Carey and Mr. McBride. There's no I in the leadership of the city of Myrtle Beach. It's a us. It's a we. It's working together. And that's why, since I've been in office, we have seen things accomplished because we have pulled council together to work together. And that is my intention. If I'm reelected, that's the direction we're going in. Working together, making headway, making a better life for the citizens of this beach, and making a better environment for the people that come to spend their money as tourists in our city. Thank you very much. Look forward to speaking to you.
I would like to say something. We really don't need an outburst, please. If you have anything to say it to yourself, or just wait till you get outside, please. We don't want to interrupt the mayor or anybody else who you disagree with or agree with. This is a free debate, so please, let's all come together and listen. And if you disagree, when you leave, y'all can battle it someplace else. Thank you.
We'll start with our first question. Maybe we should not hire 100 police officers. What we need to do is have 75 and raise the pay with the ones we have now, with the pay that is going to go to the extra 25 officers. What are your thoughts on this? We'll start with you, Mr. Carey, and then for the next question, we'll start with you, Mr. McBride, and then Mayor Rhodes.
So the question is whether 75. My plan to attack the public safety issue is not to pull a number out of a box and say this is the answer. My plan is to engage professionals in this field. There's over 1,000 retired law enforcement officers in this community. There's great staff we have now. And my intentions is to get them together in committee or commission and come together and analyze where we're at today, how we got there, what we have to do, how many officers we need, whether it's the summer or the winter, to attack the community loads that we have. Are we looking at all the policing programs, community policing, the drug problems, and look at that collectively with a whole field of professionals out there and come up with solutions that we can sit down collectively with our city council and our county and everything else and come up with solutions that work. Because if we don't get this public safety issue out of the way, we're not going to have an economy here. Nobody's going to want to come to this beach. I don't understand why this existing administration has no problem spending $32 million to the chamber every year, and that's not all the city, but the majority of it is, to advertise for people to come to this wonderful beach. and it's not safe. We've spent over $100 million over the years since the TDF has started. We've chased away multiples of that in economic business. We've decided who can come and who can't come to the city. We haven't sat down with our tourist groups. We need to do it better. We need to make it safer. And if we don't make it safer, the economic engine won't grow, and all communities are going to suffer. From Market Common to Grand Dunes to Booker T. Washington, there's not going to be any economy here for anybody. So let's get this public safety done right. Let's do it with professionals and let them tell us what they need and not choke them off at the bank account. Thank you.
On behalf of Mrs. Brenda Bethune, we have Melanie Helmer, who would like to say a quick statement on her behalf in her absence.
Does CD Rosa have a spokesperson?
They will call me, that's who come up. That's who called me. Go ahead, Emily.
Thank you very much. I'm reading a statement from Brenda Bethune. These are her opening remarks. We apologize that it's kind of gotten in the middle of this, but we'll get back on track. Good evening, everyone. This is from Brenda Bethune. I would like to express my appreciation to Mickey James, Benny Swan, and the NAACP for organizing tonight's event. Mostly, I want to thank all of you who are here this evening. Voters who care enough about our community to take the time to attend such events make all the difference. Knowledge is power, and you caring enough to listen to each candidate arms you with that power. It is with much regret that I cannot personally be here to share my views and plans with you. My daughter lives in New York alone and has been having some serious health issues. She's having some tests done, and as a mother, I made the decision to be with her. I need to be with her as we try to get the answers as to what is wrong. I hope that all of you, including my fellow candidates, will understand and will not hold this against me. I also hope that you will lift her up in prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been working very hard throughout my campaign to listen to the needs and the concerns of our community. The first neighborhood that I reached out to and met was our Booker T. Washington community. I met with a great group, and we had an honest and open discussion on many important issues. Rather than focusing on what other candidates think or say, I've been working to build relationships and developing goals and plans that can rationally be implemented to make significant positive changes to our city. These plans were developed after much research and by looking at the issues we face in a strategic and realistic manner. I am a practical and proven business leader who has learned that when you truly believe in something, you never stop, you never quit, and when you get knocked down, you climb back up and you keep fighting for what is right. Being defensive, combative, or divisive will never lead to success. Our city needs leadership that is not afraid to do what is best for the people we serve and is not afraid to be transparent. We need strong leadership that values teamwork. We need leadership that communicates in such a way, in a manner that builds bridges rather than divides. We need a mayor who will not just make promises, but one that will work tirelessly to bring the promising changes that we need. Our city has had many challenges that we must face, but we also have hope. And as your mayor, I will work with you to find the best solutions to make our entire community the best that it can be. On the back table, there are some red folders. If you would please, as you're stepping out, take one with you. And you could read there about my ideas and my thoughts that I am sharing with you. And always, I am open to hear your feedback. I thank you again for being here and for being involved. Please vote on November 7th. And I hope that, Brenda, I have your support. Yours very truly, Brenda Bethune. Thank you.
I'll make sure to be clear. I'm very bipartisan when it comes to politics at this moment because all candidates have been invited, and some have contacted me, such as Brenda, and we do have one other Miss Rosa, and we'll have Ed Curley kind of give you an idea of what's going on in his situation. Thank you.
I know CD contacted me the other day. His mother's very, very, very ill down in MUSC. And he told me there's no way he's going to be able to make it here, but let's just send some prayers out to his mother, and he sends his apologies. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just got the best news we could have had. The mayor just said if he had $11.5 million, he'd put 200 officers on the street. How are you going to hire 200 if you can't hire 100? If you have a restaurant, you have a hotel, how do you run your dining room? How do you run your wait staff, your housekeepers, if you don't have enough employees? We didn't just wake up 60 officers short. The question was 75? No, it's a minimum of 100 officers. This summer we used 60 outside officers. That means that we were 60 officers short. Right now we're still paying the chief, the chief that retired back in May, at a rate of $150,000 a year. He hasn't worked since May on the street and doing anything, and we're paying him a consulting fee. So what's he consulting? Is this his plan for the 8 additional officers? Do y'all understand how simple to change the law is? The law was written to give you property tax rebate, to give the city capital improvements, there's a portion, but the lion's share goes to the chamber. There's 120 people in this room, and 120 people just said that public safety is more important than advertising. We've given the chamber $138 million for advertising, and none of it's gone to public safety. All you have to do is go back to Columbia, get the delegation to go up and change a couple lines in the state law to allow its use for public safety. It's called local legislation. There's only 3 counties in the state who can even have the A tax. Horry County, Charleston County, and Beaufort County. The 2 south counties have never put it in place anywhere. And of the 8 entities, the 7 cities, and the county, we're the only one that has put in the legislation. So if the state changed something, the only person in the entire state of 183 cities and 46 counties, the only legislation they're changing is for us. And can you imagine the question going to the governor and saying, Governor McMaster, will you please change the advertising so we can use it and pay for our own police officers? So people in Florence and Casey don't have to be coming down here and running our department for us because we can't staff it. Will you please change the law so that we can use that money for public safety?
Dang, Mark. Better than I thought you would. You know, Mark, as long as you were in public service in office, it seems like somewhere along the way you would learn how government works. But for some ungodly reason, it's gone over your head, even at 6'3". You know, the law, the TDF fund, was my idea. It was my idea to do the TDF fund in 2008 when this city was in a recession and going down. And I went to our delegation. I went to Columbia. I went to our city council. And I went to our Chamber of Commerce. And said for the first time in history, this city needs a way to have its own advertising dollars rather than waiting to get money from the state at the end of the budget year. Because by then, tourists have already made their decision. And I did this and got the vote, and yes, we did it without the public vote. And we did it during election year, and I said at that time in my election, if I lose this election because of the TDF fund, because of that 1% tax, it was the best thing that I've ever done for this city. Trust us, and we will give you something back. And in 2 years, we reduced the property taxes of owner-occupied residents in this city by 80%, the largest tax reduction in the history of the state of South Carolina. We've already met with our delegation about the TDF funds, about getting money from there for police. We've met with other delegations within the state, and they've all told us, if you open up that bill, you may lose it all. And I'm not going to take that chance to lose the funds for advertising nor the property taxes for our residents.
Don't believe it.
I'm not going to do that. Ma'am, I'm sorry, it's a fact. We're seeking funds through other sources of the state to do proviso, to give us funds that the Chamber's already said on the accommodations tax that they would relinquish the funds that they get, which is $1.6 million, that will help us with the police, hiring police, giving all the cars, guns, whatever they need to be a police officer, for proper training. Now, it's so easy to get new police officers. We had 116 applications this year for police. We had 15 that qualified. I have a very close friend who's the mayor of Indianapolis. He said he loses 40 to 50 officers a year, and he has a tough time replacing them, and he's in a metropolitan area. So what you're hearing is not that simple. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes soliciting these people from other areas. Thank you very much.
If you were to find out that the sense of urgency to locate the new library in the middle of town was part of an elaborate land swap for Chapin Park, Chapin Library, and the Chapin Building downtown, would you support it? And we'll start with Mr. McBride and go with Mayor Whiteside.
I don't know what kind of elaborate schemes behind the new library and the Children's Museum. If you go back and look at budget 14, 15, and 16, you know, the mayor said it's we, it's not I. So if it's we, that means all 6 members of council has participated in whatever this scheme is. They did not have any long-range plans for a new library. There was no long-range plans for a children's museum. So out of the blue, back in February, they have a press conference and announced to the world we're building a children's museum downtown and a new library. Now, from a political point, you know, if you stop and think, which are the 2 groups you don't beat up on? Which you never want to do anything with the seniors.
And the children.
And the children. So what better thing? Hey, let's build those 2 downtown to cover up what's going on. And then you have property that was offered to the city in 2014 and they turned it down. But yet, this spring, you know, 3 years later, the man who owns 3 parcels downtown walked away with over $500,000 in money he realized over what he paid for them in the past. You have properties that were sold for $6 and $8 a foot, and the DRC went in and bought dilapidated buildings and paid $60 a foot within 24 months. That's some pretty good investment going on downtown. We don't need the Children's Museum downtown. I say that we own the buildings now, go downtown and create innovative jobs. And when you look down, you go down the bypass, what's one of the largest employers in our area? It's Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And no, Mr. Carey, we don't need a port. We don't need an interstate. We don't need any bigger of an airport. You need office space and you need web services. And we could go downtown and create incubators and have a whole revision of the downtown. A couple weeks ago, if y'all might have seen all that controversy when I made my presentation about the jobs. what they've done and what Mayor Riley successfully did over the last 15 years in Charleston. In Charleston, in 15 years, they've created an economic engine that employs 22,000 people. And they make double the state income. If we go after tech jobs, diversify. You know, I worked for John for 8 years. You know, I enjoyed my time with John.
Thanks, Mark. You know, you're right. No, you're wrong. You're used to it being 61. There's actually 7 members on council, so that's what a we is. 7, not 6. You know, we had an opportunity to obtain some buildings that were dilapidated. We made a decision to do that. The dream of a library, a new library, and the dream of a children's museum is there. But it's not etched in stone. Council's not voted on it yet. What we voted on was buying those buildings. 5 years ago, Tom Lee and I talked about buying the buildings and tearing them down, making a parking lot. People made money off of it. There's no question about buying the buildings. That's enterprise. That's business. People make an investment and look for return on the investment. And these people made a return on investment from exactly what the appraisal value was plus 30%.
Please answer the question.
I'm asking a question
You
now.
didn't answer the question as whether it was a land swap or not.
It is not a land swap, ma'am. We bought the land.
I'm talking about the
Okay, ma'am,
Chapin properties.
Ma'am, there's a protocol we want to follow.
Ma'am.
He's not answering.
John, go ahead.
You know, Mickey,
John, hold up. Hold up, John. Hold up. Hold up. Please, guys, I know y'all upset. Please let him finish talking, okay? Let him finish talking. If you got any questions to challenge John outside or somewhere, please let's not do it in here, okay? I'm trying to do the best I can. I need to get some ratings here tonight.
That's my
But please,
question.
I understand, but you got any next call, you ask some questions, please, okay? And then we'll do the best.
Well, let her read it back.
But let him go ahead and finish talking, and we'll try to readdress that. Okay, go ahead, John.
ma'am, it's not a land swap, it's a land purchase. There is no land
The
swap.
Chapin
Okay,
building.
excuse me.
No, ma'am. The Chapin building, if you're talking about the Chapin Library, that was donated to us by the foundation. Okay? That is not, it's before you ever got here. Okay? So, but what we're looking at, what do we need to do from the city standpoint to help redevelop the downtown, to help spur new development? And we knew in order to do that, we had to purchase these buildings and go one way or the other. But as I've said, the dream was to put a library there, the dream was to put a children's museum there. But it's not been voted on by council, and we are open also still to public-private investments. So that's where that goes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, John.
This is a fair, open debate. These guys are asking general questions. We have index cards that we have, I want to reiterate, that we have passed out. And so, would you please ask your question, and if your question is not answered, then you have to deal with that later. But now is not the time to interrupt the mayor or anybody else on this forum, because it's not fair to one person to be stepped on and the other two having a good time over here. Thank you.
Flat out, I'm against the city being in the development business. I'm against them buying land downtown. You know, the business of the city is not to do the actual business or the development and buying land. If that's the business that your administration has been in, Mr. Rhodes, I would say it's a failure. You've raised over $100 million to go into the TDF, but you've chased away probably over $1 billion in your term here, okay? If you want economic development, you gotta take the handcuffs off the developers. You gotta streamline the process. You can't be subjective, you can't be picking the winners and losers. There's great opportunity to develop downtown. Maybe we should just offer that parking lot we own in the middle of those buildings to a developer. If they would come in and find the right combination of building residential condos above a vibrant retail base in those buildings, restore those storefronts, and keep some history in this town. You know, I'm not against libraries, I'm not against children's museums, but I am against running up the budget of all these taxpayers in this room. We need the private industry to move this engine. We just need to make the city safe and put the money into public safety. Thank you.
This next question will be the final question, and then we will go into our closing statements after this. On domestic violence, the police say they can't arrest their way out of the problem, whereas the solicitor says you can't prosecute your way out of the problem. More police alone cannot solve this problem, so what specifically do you plan to do? And we'll start with you, Mayor Rose.
I'm sorry, I thought we were going to 8:30.
I was told that this was the last
We're
question.
going to go to 8:30. Go ahead on. I don't make sure we got calm, that's all.
Domestic violence is a problem all over this country. First of all, people have to understand there is an opportunity for help. But some of the people that are trapped into this domestic violence do not feel there's a way out. They do not feel there's a way for them to separate themselves from that person that is harming them. But you've got that opportunity. We're here to help you. We have organizations that are here to help you. But you have to make that step. We make an arrest. Somebody gets arrested for domestic violence. And unfortunately, the spouse drops the arrest. They drop it because they're afraid of the repercussions. We have to be able to have an organization that will protect these people, whether it's female, male, or children. This month is Domestic Violence Month, one of the most important caring months in this country's history. This is an issue that is also becoming just insurmountable as the drugs, which gives us two issues we have to fight and we have to work on. Do we have all the answers? Do you have all the answers? No. We work every single day to try to come up with solutions to problems. No one has all the answers. All you will hear from people are suggestions on how to do something, but they don't have a solution to the problem. And that's where we are today in our country. I hope that someday that we will be able to stop domestic violence 100%. Thank you very much.
I became aware of a very disturbing statistic today, that our county is the worst in the state, and our state is the worst in the nation in domestic violence issues. I spent the last 12 years on a board of a children advocacy center called the Children's Recovery Center that deals with children's physical and sexual abuse issues. I know they struggle to find money to help these children. There's a lot of volunteers that go into it. They've had some laws passed to help in the prosecution of these cases where forensic interviewers and their audio videotapes can go into court so these children don't get traumatized over and over and over again. You know, the children that are getting domestic violence and abuse grow up to be adult domestic violence victims if they don't get help. The other disturbing thing I heard recently is that the CASA house for protection of abused spouses of women has been taken over by our homeless house here. And we haven't done anything to help that. So these are all issues of public safety. Public safety is not just a cop on the street. Public safety is not just collecting meter money. Public safety is not just the drug task force. Public safety goes throughout the whole community in all issues. And we need to address this just like we need to address everything else in public safety. Because together, this is our community. We need to take care of these issues here. We don't need to go knocking on the governor's door saying, help us, help us, help us. Why can't we solve our problems here? Because we're not going to solve problems in the State House or in the federal government in D.C. if we don't solve problems right here at home and start putting priorities first, public safety and property rights, and let the private economic engine help grow this community and help everybody prosper together as a community. So, yes, when I get this committee together on law enforcement, this is one of the issues is going to be on the list. And we're going to address it. We're going to help those people. But we need to get our streets safe and our city safe so the economic engine can run. So let's not discount these issues. Thank you.
What time y'all got? I got 7:47. I got 3 minutes, that'll be 7:50. We all get a closing statement. That means we're done at 8. I thought we were going to 8:30. Have the rules changed? We have 3 questions. When the council had their debate, they were 9 council member candidates and they had 4 questions. Are we shutting down this discussion tonight?
You want an answer to that, or you want to talk?
No, I want an answer.
Let me address it right here. First of all, we are going to 8:30. I just tweeted this now, Mark. So you was asked to come up and ask a question, not to change the rules and regulations here. I said 8:30. I'm comfortable with 8:30. Now, if we cannot have order in the house, I will shut it down. We're going to respect one another. That's what I believe in. We got to respect one another. We cannot. It's not child play. It's serious business about the issues that are affecting this town, the city of Myrtle Beach, and we ought to be respectful to one another, whether you agree or disagree. And I have the right to shut it down because I organize it. If you're not going to be respectable, we go play out somewhere else.
I agree. But thank you. I guess we're going to get another 30 minutes to talk about the city's business. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be having discussions. I have so much respect for Mr. Carey. I can't imagine the level and all of his expertise. And hey, I went to Carolina because of John and got a hotel restaurant degree, so I have respect for John and Brenda. And please, y'all, in Brenda's absence, please pray for her and her daughter. That's hard, and pray for CD and his mom. But we need to sit here tonight and we need to go through these issues, and if they get a little testy and a little ugly, that's all right. We need to have a debate. Domestic violence, that goes back to police. We don't have enough police. Y'all realize when we brought in the 60 officers, that was to control the boulevard? That wasn't put any officers, community officers. Nobody was in neighborhoods. There was no more officers at Market Common. They weren't in BTW. The officers weren't anywhere. Everybody was on the boulevard trying to keep the boulevard under control. And then this year we're going to put 8 more, so we're going to keep asking the state. The governor had to come down here and tell the city to get their stuff together. How embarrassing. But if we have those officers, we have the 100 officers, everybody says, well, what are you going to do with them in the off-season? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in January, they answer as many calls as they used to answer in July. And you give a package, hey, you come to work for Myrtle Beach, we're going to pay the best of anybody in the state. You're going to see people moving here. Oh, we can't put 100 through the academy. We don't want 100 rookies on the street. You pay officers, and officers will move here. You're always going to have preachers, teachers, and cops. There's a lot of people out there that they're not in it for the money. They're in it to serve. And officers are one of them. If we start paying, if we have the $11.5 million, we can raise the pay. We'll retain it. We won't become a revolving door in a training session for someone else. Then when we have those officers, then we can have a gang unit. And we can have a domestic violence unit. Then we can have a human trafficking unit. And we can do all kinds of things. But right now, all we're doing is hanging on and hoping the boulevard doesn't go crazy and there's more shootings.
What is your position on offshore drilling along our coast? And we'll go back to the beginning. We'll start with you, Mr. Carey.
I'm opposed to offshore drilling along our coast. There's no need to do it. No need to put our whole economy at risk when it does come back. One oil spill will knock us out. I asked our city leaders a while back what kind of reserves we have in this city should a unfortunate hurricane knock us out for 6 months. And the answer was pretty much, don't worry about it, we got FEMA. Here we go again, depending on Uncle Sam or the governor. We need to take care of ourselves first here. And we certainly don't need drilling offshore. We don't need our state legislators or our federal legislators pushing for that. It's not good for our economy, and everybody in this room should oppose that. Thank you.
If y'all ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. And what I tell this group, it's the same group I'm going to go if I talk to a bunch of bikers, or if I go to the Dunes Club, or if I go to Market Common. It doesn't matter. You ask me a question, and you might not like the answer, but I'm going to be straight up forward. I don't run. I ain't scared. And I don't support oil offshore drilling, but I support offshore drilling for natural gas. Clean natural gas. Natural gas, I believe, is the future. It's not oil. There's not oil spills. So, I'm 50-50. I'm supporting half of it. And the type of jobs and the industries and what natural gas and those type of jobs, what it would bring in here, I think it's a benefit.
I have been against offshore drilling from the start. I talked to us. You wish. I have talked to a delegation. I have talked to the senators in Washington, the House members in Washington. There's no guarantee that an oil spill will not happen. Look what happened just a week ago back in the Gulf. Another pipe leak. After the oil spill in the Gulf that had in 2008 and 9, you still got bubbles washing up on the beach. Little black beads. The oil is at the bottom that did not come up, and it has not settled. It's not going where another storm comes up, it's going to bring it in. We do not need anything that could hurt the tourism industry in this city. And Myrtle Beach is the #1 ocean resort in America. It is the only resort since the recession, whether it's Las Vegas, Orlando, Panama City, anywhere you want to pick, that had an increase of 50% in tourism, from 12 to 18 million people. Nowhere else has that accomplishment happened. And it's because of what we've done here in proving that we have a great, great family beach. We do not need to take any gambles of any kind that would disturb that, and drilling the Atlantic Ocean takes that gamble. Thank you.
If elected, will you uphold the homeowner tax break, Mr. McBride?
Absolutely. Simple. The ad tax has 3 components: tourism development fee, the Brad tax, whatever y'all want to call it. Part of it's for the tax rebate, the rollback. Part of it goes to the city for capital improvements, and the lion's share goes to the chamber. The mayor just sat here and said, we're not going to do anything that would risk our reputation, but we're allowing all the crimes and all the shootings, and we're not using police officers. It all keeps coming back. If we accept what the mayor said, that between 2009 and 2016, we went up 12 to 18 million in visitors, 50% increase. You know what the sad part of those numbers are on the backside? Between 2009 and 2016, we went from arresting 39,000 people to arresting only 24,000. So while we were going up 50% in visitors, we were going down 39% in arrests. And you wonder why we have our problems? You know, ladies and gentlemen, we need to take the ad tax money and put police officers on the street and protect the city's image, just like the image if we had an oil spill. Thank you.
As I said before, I'm not going to do anything at all that is going to take a chance of losing the TDF fund. So I will continue to stand behind the TDF fund. I'll continue to stand behind what it represents and what it does for this community. There are other ways that we can get the funds that we need for safety, and we're heading that direction. We've been in meetings already for 2 months, working out a strategy to take to the State House, to get their cooperation from our delegation, to take to the General Assembly, to be approved by the governor. We're not here saying we don't need more police officers. We're not here saying that we don't need to find the sources of revenue. But the one thing we're not going to do if we don't have to, and that's raise your property taxes or your personal taxes. We're going to try to let the state understand that because of that increase in tourism has increased the tax revenue for every town and city in the state of South Carolina by the money they get from us. So, Governor, General Assembly, if you want to continue on that path to reap the benefits from tax dollars that this city generates, then you help us out with money that it's going to take care and hire the police force. Thank you.
I feel like I'm asking a hostage question. Mayor, you mentioned that we've grown 50% since the recession, the largest of any place in America. Quite frankly, I don't believe that. And it's like the fox watching the chicken coop. Where are that data coming from? It's coming from the same organization that we gave $138 million to advertise for tourism. But look at our city. Look at downtown. Look at the South End. So I'm not going to answer this question yes or no, but I'm going to answer it this way. We need to zero-base our budget. We need to put our priorities first in public safety. This city council and mayor, just this spring, struggled over $470,000 of a budget shortfall when the manager put in over $1 million into the budget. No, they didn't want to raise taxes. I don't blame them. But you know what they did? Instead of adding $11 to a $200,000 4% property here, they added $13.80 to everybody in their solid waste fees. So I'm not going to sit here and play hocus pocus with numbers. I'm just going to tell you we're going to prioritize this city. And we're going to prioritize our needs and make the whole city safe. Because without it, I don't think we have a good economy looking ahead of us. Thank you.
What is your backup plan for public safety if the TDF goes away or you can't get $11.5 million?
First of all, you know $11.5 million, and second off, TDF plan's not going away. So, there is no backup plan because of that issue. The plan is, as I just stated a while ago, is working with our General Assembly, our delegation, and our governor to look at provisos that will allow us to get funds from the State House that is going to help fund the police. There is not going to be $11.5 million laid over to the city of Myrtle Beach for police. That's not going to happen. That is absolutely unbelievable. So what you have to understand is that we're going to work hard to get those funds, but we're going to continue to keep the TDF fund.
So kind of like the backup plan to pay for this library and children's museum, Mr. Mayor? We don't have that money either. We don't have the money in the budget right now for the Performing Arts Center. Why do you keep going to the governor to solve our city issues? Maybe we're overtaxed here already. Maybe we can solve our own problems. Let's go back and decide what we need in this town, okay? The tourists will come. We have an ocean there. Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it safe. And let this economic engine roar. Let's not make a false economy. Let's not be paying all our money on the optics and the perception of how good things are here. Let's make it good. Let's all of us collectively make it good. Not just some marketing department over at the Chamber of Commerce. It's time for change. And I hope you agree with me. Thank you.
Y'all want 1.5 million, or y'all want 11.5 million? Does anybody have an answer? Okay. What he's doing is saying, we're going to continue to fund the chamber. This year we're giving them $23 million for advertising. So in this pocket, the chamber's got all their money. They're holding it back. And they're going to the state and saying, hey, y'all go take money from everybody else. Get something else. Have everybody else continue to contribute to Myrtle Beach when we have our own pocket here that we won't spend our own money. If we talk about the increase, y'all as city residents have really been tattooed for the last couple of years on that $138 million. If you think of the Grand Strand, and according to the chamber, it's the 60 miles. 60 miles times 3 deep is 180 square miles. The city of Myrtle Beach makes up less than 18%. So that means 90% is going outside of that money. We're advertising 90% outside. Your tax dollars are going across the line into North Carolina to advertise for golf courses. We're going to North Myrtle Beach. We're going to Georgetown County and using your tax money to advertise and grow those cities. This year, from 2008 to 2009 to 16, we grew at 38%. North Myrtle Beach grew at 55%. Charleston grew at 88%. They didn't spend $1. We spent $38 million to be in last place. It's absolutely ridiculous. All Luke Rankin has to do, or all Alan Clemens has to do, Greg Hembry, or anybody else in our delegation, is go to Columbia right now and pre-file legislation to change the use. It's simple. Then they come in January and the law gets changed. Talk to them.
What is your plan for ridding Myrtle Beach's $220 million debt? Mayor, sorry, Mr. Perry.
Well, first thing we can do is quit adding to it. I'm actually going to give out a shout out to Phil Bender. I remember a meeting this spring when there was debate going on, a council meeting about the whole debt structure and our capacity in there. And he was the only one that said anything wise when they were all trying to decide what to do. And he said, we can do nothing, and implying that we don't have to add to it. Let's narrow it down. It just seems like we're rolling stuff over. It's like you buy a house, you're into it 10 years, and you want to get a new mortgage, but you start your 30-year clock over again. So it's just kicking the can down the road. And we got to look at this seriously. How much we want to build up in debt? Because here again, we get a bad storm in this town, we are in deep trouble. We don't have the money. We're not going to have all the business license, taxes, and fees to pay our bills. And I guess we're going to be knocking on Uncle Sam's door because we've been bad fiscal managers. So we need to start paying it down. Simple. And picking, there might be some projects out there in the future we need to look at, but maybe we can sell off not a hospital, but a hotel that is competing with private industry. I don't think the city needs to be competing with their own private industry in town. So there's one start we can do. Thank you.
I get a lot of criticism that I can't get along with people, and I don't work well with people. I don't negotiate. Well, for 2 years, I've been offering the chamber 50% of that account. And I just showed you why we shouldn't be doing 50%. We ought to be getting 90% of that money coming back to the city and give the rest of the community the 10% for advertising. One of the biggest battles I had on city council, y'all drive down Oak Street, there's that big building on the left side beside the convention center. 18 times I voted against the construction of the convention center hotel. That's 50 million of our 225 million in debt right there. And y'all, maybe some of y'all know, maybe you don't. There was a group that came, as a man and woman, that came from Coronado Beach out in San Diego, just first class. They came to the city, and they proposed they want to go behind the convention center and build a cylinder tower as a hotel. They were going to pay for it. They didn't want anything. And then if that was successful, they were going to build a second tower beside it. And that was going to have some office space, and it was going to have living quarters. They came, and all they wanted was the hospitality fees that were created within the project. They wanted that to come back in. They weren't wanting anything else, no one else to pay. They were going to pay their way on the hotel. And what kind of a ridiculous agreement did the city end up doing? Making y'all own a convention center, a hotel, and now, how many years later, we still owe $58 million, and that's one of the biggest chunks of our debt.
Yet I didn't know we were in such financial trouble. Last time I looked, we weren't. Yeah, it's $220 million in debt. It's called bonding, Edward. And you know about that bonding stuff because you were involved in a project called Market Common that lost its penny while you were helping do it. And it came back and paid 20 cents on the dollar to get it back. Right, Ed? I thought you were. But if you don't take money and invest back into the city, get a return on the investment, you don't grow. Tourism industry, one of the things there was when I came into office was developing sports tourism. This city was doing $20 million in direct economic impact in sports tourism when I took over as the mayor. This past year, sports tourism did $186 million in direct economic impact in this city. But we have spent $50 million to generate that. We had to make an investment in facilities, and you can only do it through bonding. You don't do it through zero balance. They tried that before in other cities and failed. You know as well as I do. One thing you have to understand, we pay off our bonding as it comes due, and we have a AA bonding rate right now, which is strong as any city around. We're proud of that because we do pay our debt. We pay our debts when the money is due. We don't go delinquent, as some businesses have been able to do. You won't buy Myrtle Beach for 20 cents on the dollar. Thank you.
This next question is directed at Mr. McBride, but of course all of you will answer. When you were mayor, the city was safe, clean, and business was thriving. What will you do to return to a safe, clean, business-friendly city if elected?
I guess I'll just have the same leadership qualities I had for 8 years. Clean, safe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. We were safe. We didn't have problems. Y'all realize, since Easter, we had 6 shootings at Easter. And in Father's Day, we had 7 shootings in the Bubba video that went to 4.6 million people. Then we got to the barricades all summer long. So if someone came to town and they weren't one of the 4.6 million that saw the video, you drove down and you had all these barricades to keep our visitors separated from each other. What's the first question you ask someone when there's barricades? What the barricades for? It's because of all our shootings. Then we get to Labor Day. We have our first of 2 officer-involved shootings. We've never had an officer-involved shootings. In the last 2 months, we've had 2 arrests for human trafficking. The Caribbean, out at the mall, some of those, questionable issues with the 2nd and 3rd row motels that everybody says we need to address, and I agree we need to address those. The sea banks, the other night I was down there in the middle of that, after the shooting, I went down and I videotaped what was going on. The Sun News actually called me and asked me to use my videotape. So we had a shooting the other night. We have to get back to public safety, and it can be done. Anything, any story, any excuse is protection and simply funding the chamber's advertising. And if y'all walk out of here tonight, everyone in this room said public safety is more important. It's on y'all to go to our delegation. It's to go to Mayor Rhodes while he still sits in his seat. Mr. Chestnut, the rest of the council members. Brad Dean says, if you ask him, he'll fight for you. Ask him. I got cut off. That's okay.
That's twice.
Twice I got cut off? That's all right. At least then I'll get my golf clubs now.
Yeah, I'll answer the question and be clear.
Okay.
Thank you, Detective McBride. Mark, I want to tell you something. You've been an advocate of believing what the FBI report has on the city of Myrtle Beach and how we're one of the top, most dangerous cities in this country to live in. Ranked 17th. You believe that FBI report, don't you, Mark?
It's actually not the FBI, that's...
But do you believe the FBI report? Do you know what the FBI report has on the chart when you were in office? That crime was at its peak in this city, has never ever been at that peak again. It has fallen ever since 2006. That's the FBI report, Mark. Same report you believe in. I had a gentleman that called me the other day, actually emailed me about coming to Myrtle Beach, retiring. He looked up and he saw where we were the 17th most dangerous city to live in this country. And I answered him, sir, the fact that you're reading are based on 28,500 population and crime is turned in. Not on 18 million. But do you know what the 19th most dangerous city in this country was? A city that was not as dangerous as us? Baltimore, Maryland. You know what the 69th most dangerous city was, Mark? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They didn't even mention New York or Chicago. But for some reason, the Chicken Littles of the world want to make us look like we're Chicago. But yet, those who want to destroy this beach with negative publicity are the ones who harm us more than anything. Now, the gentleman that took the film was a fireman that was here on a fireman's convention. He was a sworn officer that was supposed to respond to people in trouble and injured. He was so busy taking the film, he never did what his job called for him to do, and that was to respond to injured people on the boulevard. He was more interested in putting it out and getting great publicity, which newspaper gave him great publicity over July the 4th. You know, that was one of the busiest times of the year. This city has problems, but it is not a Chicago, Illinois. It's not a Detroit, and it's not a New York City. It is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it is an absolute safe city to live and visit in. Thank you.
I need to address a rebuttal item here. You know, there's a saying out there, I believe it goes, lies, more lies, and statistical data. What do you want? The mayor, on the previous question, implied that I bought Market Common back for 20 cents on the dollar. First of all, I'm not a developer. I own 2 townhouses out there, okay? I have the floor, sir.
You got it. Don't hurt it.
The developer, the Katy National, gave that town center back to the bank on a non-recourse note. It went out on the open market and they bought it back. I had nothing to do with that. I wish I could do that with my 2 townhouses down there. I wouldn't be underwater on them right now, okay? The taxes that are raised at Market Common, the TIF, the bonds that were sold down there, are being paid off by the real estate taxes that are generated down there. Currently, those taxes are about $9.1 million to go into the TIF to pay off $3.1 million in debt service. The other $6 million is not coming up here this end of the town to pay for law enforcement anywhere, okay? We need to change that. The other thing, and he was right, I was involved down there helping the ownership build that place. And I knew there was a pile of money for public works. I knew there was a pile of money for private. And it was separated. It was clearly separated. But what I didn't know, because I wasn't the developer, was the money that's generated with the real estate taxes doesn't go only to pay those bonds off. You see, it goes for additional capital improvement projects down there. We can build another road. We can build a bike trail. And it's, you know, in some instances, it's pretty good. But it's also going to cover our mayor's failures. Now here again we go again with things with children, okay? He sat and told our community that he was going to raise the money privately, with no tax dollars, into that beautiful playground down there. Didn't work out so well, did it, Mr. Mayor? So don't be telling me I'm a developer there and then I bought things back for 20 cents on the dollar, because that's a lie, okay? The other lie is you did not succeed in building that playground without public money. You got $350,000 from that tax fund, TIF fund.
We'd like to thank everyone for participating in tonight's debate. With that, we will have our closing statements and then we will close out the debate formally.
Myrtle Beach is in good shape. You know, the economy is going good. Construction is going good. This past year was $411 million in construction permits that were given in the last 18 months, Robert. We're just getting ready to do another construction deal that's going to be close to $100 million. Well, 4,000 jobs have been created in this city in the last 6 years. The city is having a banner year in tourism, which is over last year, which was the biggest year it's ever had. I've talked to business communities, hotels, restaurants. They will all tell you the only time they had a flat season, a flat time during the season was July and August and September because of the storms. October has been great. March, April, May was great. You know, and Ed, you touched on something that's a little dear to my heart, buddy, and that's the Vantage Playground, which is one thing couldn't do anything. You couldn't even get the property that you wanted, that we gave you a chance to take for 6 months, that you wanted to do some more live work facilities. You couldn't get anybody to bite on that, but you knew you could do it because it was the thing to do. Correct? Now,
Correct.
when it comes to raising the money, Ed,
That wasn't my land.
no, Ed, but you had the right to do it. We gave you that right to do it. The property owner gave you that right to do it, Ed, so I'll listen to it.
I got no rights.
That's, well, you don't got the money either. But anyway, let me explain something to you. when it comes to building a playground for special needs kids, I will take any money, anywhere that I can get. That playground was built for kids to have an opportunity. Not to be hidden behind a wall or a building for a playground, but one out in the public where they can see it. And I won't back up at all from you or anybody else for money I got from TIF or from the state or wherever. Because that playground was built for children, buddy. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you step on that, you stepping on me. And you better get ready for repercussions. Thank you.
That's a threat.
Thank you, Mayor. That was very kind of you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm just pointing out, I love Savannah's playground. It's a great, great idea. I'm just pointing out what he told the community. That's all, okay? This has nothing to do with me not liking children's playground. I love it. It's a beautiful place. Did a good job, okay? Just tell the truth. That's all we want. Thank you. Now, I think you just answered why I'm running for mayor. We need truth in this city. We need to get back to basics of government, public safety, and property rights. I had no property down there. I just fought to try to keep a concept that was still alive down there. Now he's telling me it's my fault I couldn't do it. So let's move forward. Let's get this whole town safe. Every neighborhood, every community, and let's find out how to do it right. Let's not just pick magic numbers out of a hat. Let's support our public safety people. Let's pay them well. We can find the money within our own community. We're overtaxed now, but let's get it right. Let's not be dependent on everybody else out there. Let's let private economic development come in here. Let's work with these people. Let's sit down. What works? It's what's in it for all of us, not what's in it for the chamber or what's in it for you, Mr. Mayor. We need change in the city, and I hope I can be part of that. And I hope I get all your support and get your vote on November 7th. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, we got to 8:30. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I would ask that you go back and think about what's been discussed tonight. There are 2 candidates missing. If y'all watched the debate the other night, one of the candidates more often than not agreed with the mayor's point of view. And so I think there's 2 different ways of looking at this. Do you want change, or are you happy? Are you safer now than you were 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and 8 years ago? When y'all leave right now, it's 8:30, it's not even 10, it's not 11. Y'all go down to the boulevard, park, and then go down behind the sky wheel and walk down the boardwalk by yourself. Don't look for a police officer. And then you answer for yourself. Are you safer now than you were? It's simple. The news is out there, ladies and gentlemen. No matter how much, I can't imagine that we actually argue about neighborhood scout saying we're 17th. That's an improvement. We were 12th. But wait until this number comes out after this year. We'll be in the top 10. But y'all realize Orlando, Las Vegas, Virginia Beach doesn't make the top list. Why are we arguing that we really aren't on that list? Why aren't we working to become one of the safest communities? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I would be honored if you would give your trust to me and elect me again. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've come back. There's things I want to see. And it really is. In 2015, I had a little rat card, and I said 100 officers, pay raises, and more for Memorial Day. That's what I'm saying again. It's about public safety. It's about creating new jobs, going in a different direction so we're not only service, and about our family image. We've destroyed our family image. When you go down the boulevard, before all the stuff started at Easter, someone rode from Damon's up to about the Pavilion area on Friday night before the Easter shootings, before all this started. And he called and said, Mark, I saw 7, not 1, 2, 3, but 7 individuals walking down the boulevard with a gun in their pants. He called 9 times to the police department. They couldn't answer the calls. Y'all have been told a bunch of stories for a long time, and we need to make some changes. I hope God continues to bless the city of Myrtle Beach. And thank you.
Let me again take this opportunity to extend my profound appreciations to you, the listening audience. Now, would you give yourselves a round of applause? Secondly, we've been blessed with having some candidates that took the heat, fought through it, and we want to extend an appreciation to each and every one of you guys for what you do. And to our elected officials that have quietly participated and actively engaged us in the rear, Councilman Michael Chestnut, Councilwoman Jeff Council Chair Mark Lazarus. Thank you so very much. And to the outstanding young Randall. There's nobody in this Randall? I didn't do it. Randall Wallace. Tyler and Mary. Thank you. And was Mickey James firm and fair today? Let's give him a round of applause. The NAACP and the Carolina African American Heritage Foundation want to just extend our profound appreciations to you for all that you do. And please, don't forget to do what's important. Go out and vote on election day.